Hello, everyone. Good evening. Oh my gosh, it's so wonderful to see you all again. I've missed you. I feel like it's been years, but it's only been a couple months, but it's so good to see you all again. And I know I've said this before, but I love watching your faces pop on and getting to share in the loving, and my heart just explodes when I see you guys in the best way. Welcome to this evening's worldwide community gathering, Awakening into the Majesty Within. We are so glad you're here. I got a sneak peek at those handouts when they sent out the going live email, and I am excited to answer those questions tonight. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to the one and only's Dr. Ron and Mary Holnick.
Thank you so much, Eliza. Welcome, everyone. We're delighted to be with you once again. Oh my gosh. And we have such a wonderful topic this evening. So let's go ahead and call ourselves into the light, a very auspicious way to begin experiencing the majesty within. And then we'll move on into the evening. Ron?
Let me do this. All right. Well, gosh. Lord God of all creation, we come before you this evening with a great sense of purpose in our consciousness. Purpose having to do with the awakening in consciousness of all of humanity at this time that has been prophesied as a turning point in the evolution of consciousness on this planet. We send our light all around the world, regardless of what position anyone or any group is taking in the events of the world. What they all require is our light. And for this opportunity and the wisdom that is present in knowing this, we give our thanks. So be it.
All right, and we'll move into our 5-minute peace meditation. What a beautiful opportunity for us once again to focus our awareness on our hearts, the portal, the gateway to higher consciousness, to the awareness of the love that we are and of the majesty of the soul within us. And I invite you to pause for a moment, to come into resonance with the love that you are. And inwardly, to focus your attention on your intention for being here this evening. Perhaps your intention is to be a part of a gathering of like-minded and like-hearted souls coming together in loving, in light, to experience upliftment, to be part of a collective whose energy is met and amplified by the energy of spirit. And that this beautiful energy becomes a blessing, not only of which we each can partake, but which we all can share with all humanity, beginning perhaps with those nearest and dearest to us, perhaps those that you're aware are dealing with a health challenge. But in the midst of all that is taking place on the planet and all that is occurring within our daily lives, there's an opportunity present to focus on the majesty within you, the nobility of your soul, your spiritual essence. And just that awareness may lift your heart, may lift your energy, may call you just to straighten your back a little, to feel yourself, experience yourself coming into greater alignment with that light of living love. And I invite you to focus your awareness on your crown chakra. You may not be wearing a tiara or a crown physically, but your crown chakra is part of your being. It is the center just above the top of the head, where light enters us and that energy of the Holy Spirit comes in and animates each one of us. We each are an instrument of the divine, an expression of divine love. And allow yourself to experience that energy flowing into you, in through the crown chakra, down through the third eye, into the throat chakra, your neck, your mouth, that whole area, and into your heart chakra. And consider this infusion of light just a loving blessing, a gift of clearing and balancing in service to your awakening. And that energy continues from your heart throughout your entire body, the solar plexus, the second chakra, the root chakra. And take in a nice deep breath and let it go. Relax in loving presence. There's nothing that you need to do to accomplish, nothing you need to be. Your being already is an expression of the God that animates all that is and each one of us. And may we extend a blessing of our collective light and loving, and the loving of the Holy Spirit to all humanity, to all people in life forms, that we all may awaken to the majesty within. So be it. Well, even though we haven't had a community gathering in the month of September, it has been a most full and rich time here at USM, we had the beautiful opportunity to meet and greet about 100 new people and more than 30 grads for the 3-day Loyalty to Your Soul workshop, which I must say was just joyous, elevated, inspiring. And the level of openness, receptivity, vulnerability, and authenticity of the participants was gorgeous. And we were just delighted to be with all who gathered. So this evening's topic is awakening into the majesty within. And this topic really it came forward during the period of time that that Queen Elizabeth's transition was being celebrated, not only her transition, but actually her 70 years of service, which is just such a remarkable thing. And there were so many beautiful memories and expressions that people shared that really brought forward for me just a deeper sense of actually having known this being and the amazing consciousness and commitment, dedication that she demonstrated. What an incredible thing. And I know I said to Ron one day, I said, how incredible it must have been for at least 70 years of her life that each day she was addressed as Your Majesty. Imagine having that experience, having that communication imparted to you, expressed to you, and what that might evoke in terms of a quality of being within you. Is there anything you'd like to add, Ron?
No, I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you. Well, a dear friend who is a USM grad, Elaine Lipworth, sent me a small article and just a short video clip that was the expression of a particular gentleman, his reflections on the death of Queen Elizabeth. So we're going to play that now, and then we'll expand our conversation about this.
Hello. I wanted to say something about the death of the Queen, which has moved me very much. Many of you will have watched the series The Crown a few years ago, and I hope it is not trite to mention a scene in one of the episodes. The Crown chronicled the early years of Queen Elizabeth II and her husband, Prince Philip, and in one of the early episodes they are making their first tour of duty around the Commonwealth. They're on board the royal jet, and Winston Churchill, the Prime Minister of the day, boards the plane to give his final briefing to the Queen as to her duties and to bid the royal couple farewell. And at the end of the briefing, he takes the Queen's hand, looks her in the eyes and says, "Ma'am, remember, when people see you, they should see eternity." These words succinctly and pertinently indicate the role of the monarchy, to stand at the heart of a nation as a symbol and representative of the impersonal, the eternal. As a monarch, Queen Elizabeth stood above politics. She represented the absolute, which stands above and behind the mind. Government works in time. The monarchy stands for eternity. The mind deals in opposites, good and bad, right and wrong, true and false, but the Absolute stands above and beyond, in a realm where the opposites have not yet come into play. It is the realm of unity, the unity of being, the being from which everyone and everything derives its apparently independent existence. And this unity of being is felt in each of us as the experience of love. The Queen represented the unity of being before it has been refracted into pairs of opposites by the mind. The government was formed in her service, just as a sane mind functions in service of the qualities that are inherent in the Absolute. That is, qualities that are absolutely true, irrespective of any particular relative point of view. Dignity, compassion, tolerance, equanimity, stability, humility, imperturbable, immutable. The Queen exemplified these qualities and modelled them for the nation, for the Commonwealth, and for the world. In other words, in her actions as much as her words, she demonstrated the qualities that must be the foundation of a society that wishes to live in peace within itself, with its neighbours, and with the environment. These qualities are the inevitable consequence of the recognition, or at least the intuition, of the unity of being. As Lao Tzu said in the Tao Te Ching, when you realize where you come from, you become naturally tolerant, disinterested, amused, kind-hearted as a grandmother, dignified as a king. In other words, the demonstration of these qualities are an intervention of the sacred into the realm of human affairs. They are the principles that remain the same for all people, at all times and under all conditions, and stand as such as the guiding principles for peace in an individual, a nation, and the world. The Queen embodied, personified, and exuded these qualities. And it is for this reason that in her company people would be drawn beyond the personal dramas in their lives and thus touch their true nature. When she was crowned in 1953 at the age of 25, she said, "My whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service." In so doing, she dedicated her life to the service of truth and love. And she was a symbol and an inspiration of such dedication. May her soul rest in peace.
Wow.
What a beautiful commentary on essence and on what the intention that she stood in and exemplified throughout her entire life. Well, let's take a look at the handout, because there's some elements here that are really quite relevant and will provide a good preview to the self-reflective questions for this evening. And I came across this quote from John Roger during that period of time. And when I read it, I said, oh my goodness, this is so apropos. So here's what he said. Once you receive the grace of loving God, that loving starts to purify you as a prince or princess of the higher consciousness. You start to once again come into the royalty, the purple majesty of your being, and negativity in and around you is transmuted into a higher form. It's really, really so
Isn't it?
gorgeous.
No.
So in the notes there on the first page, we wrote about majesty being such a powerful word. And it's a wonderful word because it is gender neutral, but it connotes nobility, greatness, dignity, sovereignty. It truly is a quality of the authentic self and something that is present within each one of us. How can you experience it? Someone said, the best way to see majesty is to strip away everything that pretends to be majestic, so that which is fake wholly collapses in the face of that which is majestic.
And I think this is the first time that you ever quoted someone. We've never had someone
A
quote
quote from someone.
No.
I don't remember where that quote came from, Ron, but I thought it was, again, very apropos. So tonight, really, we're going to be focusing on the majesty within you. And one of John Rogers' other comments on majesty is there's beauty and majesty in everyone. And so this is a lovely opportunity for us each to come into connection with that energy. So let's take a look at the self-reflective questions. This first one came forward immediately this morning as I was reflecting on what to ask this evening. How does royalty of the soul relate to loyalty to your soul? I found that a very interesting question. And two, are there some judgments about yourself you're willing to release in service to allowing the radiance and majesty of your soul to shine? If so, we invite you into compassionate self-forgiveness here and now. And the third one, write an I am statement affirming the majesty of your essential nature. What a powerful tool that is, just for repetition within your own consciousness, within your own being, to bring you more fully present in the majesty of who you are. If a hallmark of majesty is generosity of spirit, how might I be more generous with myself, with others? I love that question. David White, in some of his online talks lately, has been bringing forward what to me is truly a beautiful question. What would it be like to die of generosity? And what if we could experience a greater generosity with yourself as well as with others? And then 5, you might take this as an activity for this coming month. Imagine spending a day intentionally residing in the nobility of spirit with the light in your eyes shining brightly, blessing each person you encounter. Write your experience. Mock it up. Write your experience. And then what is one choice you can make that supports you in awakening into the majesty within? And then another wonderful quote from John Roger: ordinariness is the prior condition to God. Awakening into the majesty within is certainly not a passport to superiority. It's a passport to higher consciousness. All right. So what we'd like to do is give you a nice amount of time here to respond to these questions. These are beautiful questions. They're evocative questions. And it'll be wonderful to see what they bring forward inside of you. So we're going to give you 15 minutes for this, and then we're going to open the evening up for sharing about what came forward inside of you. This is an opportunity really for us to, as a community, experience ourselves gathering in that majesty of that which is eternal. So we'll do this in the silence, and we'll check back with you then in 15 minutes. All right. Well, let's gently bring that to completion. If there's more you want to note, you'll have time for that later. So we're going to open it up for sharing. And to start the sharing, if you had a particular awareness or an aha as you responded to one of these questions, we'd love to hear what came forward for you.
And when you start, please let us know, because, it's a mixed group. Whether you're a grad or this is your first event of this sort, just so we have a sense of it.
All right, so Lori.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hi, it's so good to see you.
Good to see you.
Okay, so actually these questions that you asked were perfect because I had a question that I wanted to ask anyway, and it goes hand in hand with all of that. So
you're a grad, right?
Yes,
I am Brad. Yeah. Yeah, I did CHH and we just finished up early in the year.
That way
And,
everybody knows.
Yep, I understand. So I've been having issues with my daughter for a very long time, and I've talked with you about her before. And I've been very generous financially with her for many years, and I've tried to be generous in any way that I possibly could be. And so what comes through for me is that I have done so much compassionate self-forgiveness, for judging myself for not being as good a mother as she thought I could have been, or for taking that on to myself, and also having had her therapist kind of agree with her, and that's fine. But it's hurtful, and I know that I've done the best that I possibly could, and I know that I'm still doing that. And I feel like I don't know what else to do since I've forgiven myself. Maybe not enough, but I'm sorry.
For what?
I've forgiven myself for judging myself as not doing certain things right when it came to raising her and being there for her.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing the best I could. I know that. And
what's difficult in a situation like this is you have awareness of the spiritual context and you have awareness of spiritual curriculum.
Mhm.
So from inside the perspective of spiritual psychology, it's you and your daughter have a spiritual contract. And there's certain things that you agree to in order to support each other in learning and healing and growth and in spiritual awakening in this lifetime. And it sounds as though your daughter is still experiencing what we might call spiritual amnesia. Would that be accurate, Lori, from your perspective?
I would have to agree with that, even though she's a very spiritual person too.
Yes.
I've introduced the concept of compassionate self-forgiveness to her, and she has a really hard time with it. Like she feels like she almost needs to keep punishing herself for things that she's done, and she can't forgive herself. So yeah, I would agree with you.
Yes. And what I would suggest to you, my impression, Lori, is that on a subtle and deep level inside yourself, there's a place where you are holding yourself hostage or to blame in some way for whatever conditions your daughter suffers from, that somehow it's your fault, that you are responsible.
Definitely. That's how I feel.
Yes. And it's like, in a way, holding that within your consciousness holds the dynamic of her judgment, criticism, and disturbance with you in place. In other words, if outer experience is a reflection of inner reality, she is mirroring to you some of your own negative perspective or judgment on yourself as a mother.
I agree with you. And I have worked really hard in USM to really let go of that and forgive myself for that. And yet, like when I'm away from her, I often can. And then when I'm either near her or, she's talking to me through text or something, like right now, I can feel it then. And that's when it starts to feel bad because she doesn't beat around the bush. She will let me know that, like right now, I haven't seen her in about 4 months because she won't let me in her house. She won't let me come see her. She's angry and like, I don't know what to do with that. I can't.
The first thing I would suggest to you is that you are not responsible for her anger.
Okay.
You are not the cause of her anger.
Right. That I know. That's true. Yes. Thank you for saying that.
And the other thing, and maybe one of the team can help with this. Somewhere during the second year, we added a new example of a bedtime intention to the bedtime intention handout. And it has to do with asking Spirit to assist in dissolving and resolving the structures that you've built inside yourself that hold this particular pattern or dynamic in place.
Yeah, I would like to. I remember doing that, and I would like to try doing that again.
So can someone post that in the chat and maybe send me a little message here so that I know that that's happening, because it is so powerful. Because when you've done a lot of work in consciousness, Lori, and something persists,
Yeah.
it raises the question of what is holding this in place.
Yeah.
Just as I asked that question, something came forward in my consciousness as a wondering. And there's a wondering that I have whether there's some judgment against your own mother that you have had a challenge releasing.
I would have to think about it.
Well, this is a neutral question.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, is there something on some subtle level, some residual that I'm holding? Or is there something about something that occurred just in the process of mothering my daughter, being a parent to her, that somehow in my own mind I've held as unforgivable?
Yeah, I know my mom didn't think I was such a great mom either. So that could be part of it.
What would you say is your daughter's, if you are willing to share it or want to, Lord, what is her chief complaint?
There are so many things that I don't listen to her and that I make things about me. And that the only thing I've ever been able to offer her is money.
Wow.
I know. And I don't see it that way at all.
Yes. Yes. And so many times these things are echoes from the ancient past.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really just doesn't feel to me like that's entirely accurate. I can see some of it for sure. But I mean, it's so extreme. It just feels really like misplaced. Because I know that she knows I love her, and I know that she loves me in, you know, whatever way she can. She tells me she loves me occasionally, and I just, yeah, that's just it's this thing that just is stuck.
Yes. You know, I had received a beautiful email communication from a second-year student after the last month's class. It was just so beautiful. And what they wrote about was their experience during the Healing of Memories trio. We had been working with the baby stage, you know, birth to 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that something inside him just let go. He had the memory of being in the crib or the bassinet and no one coming to feed him or comfort him, to care for him. And he was able to go into such a place of empathy and compassion for himself that it's like he experienced viscerally, physically, and within his consciousness that the whole thing let go.
Mm-hmm.
The judgment, the misinterpretation that he had made. The other question that comes up, Lori, is whether there has been some other experience in this lifetime where you had the experience in a sense of being wrongly persecuted.
Yes, absolutely. That's probably my number one thing that triggers me, is being accused of doing something wrong that I am not guilty for, or that I don't think I am. Yeah, it's a huge trigger. And it's very upsetting. I don't know what that is about. I've looked into that too. But yeah, persecution for sure.
See, let's pause here for a minute, and let's like rise up into higher levels of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that relationship, especially intimate relationship, is probably God's most clever dynamic
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that people work with each other. So he's set it up in such a way that they'll have this experience of actually falling in love with that person, which ensures that they're going to spend time together.
Mm-hmm.
And they do things like get married, become parents, and so they go into these relationships that you just can't walk away from so easily.
Right.
And it's done precisely so that we keep ourselves in that classroom until hopefully we graduate. And then we go on to the next thing. It's called learning.
Mm-hmm.
So what a perfect, exquisite model to make sure that people stay interacting with each other is to make them things like parents or married or siblings, so that so it assures that there's more of a glue than people who you just might meet in the street.
Right.
So the mechanism that is used is the mechanism, let's call it guilt. And simply meaning that because nobody wants to just take responsibility for their own upset, you don't want to be, I'm upset because I do this and I do that. I mean, that's unjustifiable to the ego. So we always blame it on somebody else or something else. I'm upset because, and then we look around, what qualifies? Well, mom does this, so let's lay it on her.
Right.
Now, mom, being in the relationship, is in the same kind of dynamic and fits in perfectly as the other side of the story. In fact, so perfectly that that person could be upset with the person who's upset at them because they're upset at them, justifiably so. Why are they upset at me? I've just done wonderful things for them. And until we start to understand the nature of the dynamic itself, that it's set up this way so that anytime we're upset about anything, that upsettedness is going on inside of us. Unless there is a place for that to go on, to take root inside of us, unless something inside will take that personally, that dynamic doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I mean, if she came at you and was upset about you because she didn't like the way that you washed the windows, I mean, it wouldn't have there wouldn't be any kind of glue to that.
Right.
So she has to find a way that you can relate this to something that has meaning for her and will have meaning for you as well. Excuse me. This is the cleverness of this level in forcing people to work with each other. And in fact, if you were to be so smart as to say, you know what, this is all you, the heck with you, I'm done with this, go off in something else, and you're not done with that pattern, the next person that you feel attracted to, want to become friends with, lovers with, whatever, you're going to come up with that same pattern.
Right.
You can't not.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So we keep coming back to the same question. What is it inside of you that the upset is about? What is being triggered inside of you that is touching upon a nerve that says you're not doing it right or you're not doing it well enough? There's got to be some place inside where that's still an unresolved issue for you. And of course, what I'm saying here goes for all of us who are in this situation.
Right.
So what is the judgment that this brings up inside of you against yourself?
That I just feel like I've done something wrong.
That's accurate.
Yeah.
I must have done something wrong.
Mhm.
For this to be going on. Well, what if that's just not true? What if the person who is in this position with you is at the level of consciousness, which is where most of us are at, where we can't just say, I'm upset, and this upset is something going on inside of me. I wonder what it has to do with. Maybe I'll go talk with someone who knows how to go inside and help me reveal this to myself. Most of us don't have that level of consciousness, or that's not very attractive to the ego. So rather we go, who in my life can I blame this on?
Mhm.
And very often parents and siblings are great, great, great people.
Right.
So in order to get out of this thing, we have to start, and you're very aware with some of the principles and practices, but we must begin by considering the possibility, I've not done anything wrong here. What is it that I'm really upset about? I'm upset, and this is where I am upset because comes from. So in your case, what would you say? I'm upset because my daughter, what?
Blames me for not being a good mother.
Okay, so I'm upset because my daughter blames me for not being a good mother. Now, so let me ask you this question. Can you remember any specific day in the entire time of your upbringing with your daughter where in the morning you woke up and you swung your feet over the bed to get out of bed, and the very first thought in your mind was, what can I do today to really be nasty to my daughter?
Never, ever.
Never, ever. None of us ever had.
Just the opposite, actually.
And this is why one of the main teachings is individual responsibility.
Right.
So if you're going to do that right now, then putting your daughter aside, there's a place inside of you that is doing this I am upset because dynamic, blaming it outside. But what if you just, if we just gave that part freedom? What's this really all about from you, part that feels that way? What's wrong with you from your point of view? What are you not doing right?
Nothing. I'm doing the best I know how.
You're doing the best you know.
I really am.
I know. How can anybody do less than the best they know? I mean,
Yeah.
everyone is doing the best they know.
Right.
I add something here.
1 second, Mary, let me finish. And this is where the skill of compassionate self-forgiveness comes in. Because once we start to see this, oh my God, I'm just running this inside of myself because I don't want to accept responsibility that I'm doing. And then, of course, we come in with, well, all right, there's something I could do about that. I forgive myself for ever judging myself as someone who does this. I don't do that. So I'm going to let go of that judgment.
Can I add?
Okay.
So, Lori,
Yes.
in listening to what you said, my impression was that something that's close to the heart of this is being falsely accused.
Yes.
So and this is where you can work with this from the perspective is I forgive myself for buying into the idea that I'm guilty. that I've been a bad mother. That would be one level of self-forgiveness.
Mhm.
But another level of self-forgiveness is I forgive myself for falsely accusing myself and judging myself as a bad mother. Do you follow what I'm saying here?
I'm trying to discern the difference between those two.
There's a big difference
Okay.
because the second one is really acknowledging I'm holding myself hostage inside of me because there's a part of me that buys into the story that I'm a bad mother, and I hold that against myself. I falsely accuse myself of being a bad mother, of judging myself as a bad mother.
So the difference is her point of view about me as opposed to my point of view about me.
It's what you do inside yourself that is perpetuating this.
Okay.
And the other thing, Lori, you know, sometimes there are things that are in the unconscious
Mhm.
that perpetuate the kind of dynamic that you're speaking of. And I'll just very briefly say this. It's like someplace in your consciousness, in some other time and place, where you falsely accuse someone else, judge someone else as a bad mother.
Okay.
So you can do forgiveness on both sides.
Okay.
The thing about the I forgive myself for judging myself and for falsely accusing myself of being a bad mother, it's like really owning this is happening inside of me. My daughter is simply mirroring to me what I have been doing in here.
Okay.
And to cover all the bases, I also forgive myself for any time, through all space and all time, for any accusation, false judgment, or any time where I bore false witness against someone else.
Okay.
Is this making sense to you?
Yes, I think so.
And I just encourage you, it's like the thing that is helpful is when you've come to the place where you just are willing to sacrifice it all, to really let it go. In other words, you don't need to keep perpetrating this kind of judgment, persecution, and punishment on yourself. And the other thing, Lori, I encourage you to work with the quality of original innocence.
I like that very much.
Yeah.
That's actually something that I always felt. That's a quality that I've actually always felt inside,
Mm-hmm.
especially at times when I felt like someone was judging me or I was judging myself for doing or being guilty of something. I'm like, wait a second, just that innocent piece, the word innocence. So yeah. That makes
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for your sharing, Lori.
Thank you for both of your feedback and advice. I appreciate it very much.
Yes, beautiful. Thank you. Espana, are you new to USM?
Hi, no, Shamsi.
Oh, yes. All right. Very good. Wonderful. All right.
So,
Well, let's hear what you have to share.
So I'm a graduate.
Yes, something that came forward with one of the questions that was particularly an aha for you.
I struggled a little bit with this. And it was interesting because I was doing some work, I think at the end of last month, and I had a small whisper to come and join and share. And this is so befitting because it brought it back up and out on the paper. And so, and when you were sharing with Lori about being hostage, I feel like I'm holding myself hostage. So the first question was really a struggle for me because I couldn't feel what royalty of my soul and loyalty to my soul. I last left off when I had done CHH about being able to turn and face God. And I don't know, between the ages of 5 or 8. And at that time I was upset. It's about being human. And being human is very painful, I feel. And so I was mad at God for being human. And I asked him, why do I have to be human? You could have made me anything else. And I was sitting underneath this huge tree having a conversation with him. And I said, you could have made me the tree, a grass, bird. I mean, I went through the whole spectrum of nature. And I came to realize there's pain when it came to death of whatever it may be. But there's this part in there where, what I came up was, and I asked him, like asking God of like, why? That was my favorite question to all answers. And I didn't hear anything from him. It was just dead silent. Whereas times I hear whispers or I'd get a vibration or feel something. And so with the Majesty, it's hard. I'm struggling and trying to feel my Majesty and being human. And I told God I was fine. I'll stay human, but I'm not going to do what you want me to do. And I remember getting up from the tree and walking away, and that was it.
Oh.
Good luck.
Yeah, it's yeah.
So part of what I hear you acknowledging, I'm having a very challenging time cooperating with my embodiment.
Yeah. It feels it's like electricity, like the nature of electricity. It's like as it vibrates, like you can get shocked, but that's the intensity of what it feels like of being human. It's just this intense like shock of just being human feels really painful, and it hurts, and
Well,
I don't know what to do with it.
So can you consider the possibility that human is a very interesting word?
Yes.
You can divide it into 2 words, Hugh and man. So the man part represents
Being alive.
well, it represents human embodiment, but it also represents more of egoic consciousness,
Okay.
the duality.
Yeah.
The hue is an ancient Sanskrit word that means God. And it's a tone that sound current masters give their students. So, it's like, I'm going to use a metaphor here because it's the best way I know how to share this. It would be like coming to the earth, having some experience of what's going on here, going into a temper tantrum and deep resistance and refusing to open your eyes to what the game is on this planet, and availing yourself of the opportunity to free yourself from the pain and suffering.
That's where I get stuck, because I've been working on this since CHH and trying to really get to that point where it's just I embrace being human and I open up, and there's like this little piece that feels, it's kind of like getting food stuck in your gum, and it's like, trying to pull that out to it feels like like I feel betrayed.
Yes, I hear that. I really hear you. See, it's like the first law of spirit is acceptance. Can you accept your humanity and accept your divinity? See, my sense is you've been over-focused on the humanity part of it, the humanness, and not perhaps availing yourself as much of the opportunity to embrace your divinity and to recognize that that is actually your passport out of here.
So
And
is there
passport also to a different quality of experience while you are here. See, if you're in a perpetual state of judgment, you will suffer, because judgment causes that, it precipitates that horrible feeling of separation inside ourselves that is so painful.
So what's coming forward is I don't know how to merge the two. Like I can feel them.
No merging. There's no merging.
Okay, then maybe it's
Merging is not what this is about.
I guess I don't know how to see my divinity.
See, that would be like merging night and day.
Okay.
I guess you'd call it twilight.
I actually love that time of the night and the day. Actually, that's my favorite time of the day is twilight.
Well, you come together in that part of the day.
But what I would suggest to you, it's like, in a way, as I understand what you're sharing, and believe me, I appreciate the challenge that you're dealing with. It's like, to me, a foundational question is, am I willing to get off my position with God? Am I going to argue for my limitation? Am I going to insist on my will? Or am I going to surrender and come into cooperation with the nature of my humanity and my divinity coexisting inside of me, with both available to me? It's okay. It's okay to let that come up.
I'm so mad at myself.
You're so mad at yourself. Am I understanding you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And what is this anger? What does it have to do with?
It's like, I guess it's that position. It's like,
Luma, okay.
why couldn't I choose something different? It feels like when you're sharing, Lori, about holding something hostage, it's like I feel like I'm holding myself hostage.
Well,
You are.
And I don't
there's
know how, I've done compassionate self-forgiveness, but I can't feel it in like just making peace. With being human.
See, it's like your definition of human is, if I were a swearing woman, I would use the F word.
And that was actually one of my judgments, is what human I equate with pain. It's painful.
Yeah.
And that's how I see it.
It's like it's like it's like, my impression is you've just turned your back and are stubbornly looking only at the pain, the suffering, the negativity, and in just deep judgment of yourself, of your embodiment, of life on the planet, of
It
God's
makes-
will.
It
See,
doesn't make any sense.
I didn't catch what you said.
So when I was a kid, I would sit and I'd have conversations with God. And I go, it's so simple. It doesn't have to be so hard. It doesn't have to be so painful. I was like, God, this doesn't make any sense. I go, look, and I could see, like, I can see how it could be, where not in the sense of utopia of how it's like, I could see the word symbiotic, like just a very symbiotic dynamic, or like an orchestra. Everyone plays their instrument and they're all doing their thing, but there's this symphony that comes from it. And that's how I see it. But then how I feel it, or I just experience it, is like, it's like backwards. Like I can't, it confuses me.
Nice.
Go ahead.
You know, your metaphor of the symphony is really a very good one. So let's suppose that you were in an orchestra and you played, I don't know, the violin, let's say. And so you're going in for practice one day. And here are all the other musicians. We're all sitting around. And all of a sudden the conductor says, okay. And he holds up his hands, his or her hands, and goes, let's begin. And, and everybody starts playing their instrument. What do you think that's going to sound like?
It can sound either way. It could sound chaotic if everyone's just tooting and blowing and playing, or if they're in sync, then it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful.
No,
it's going to be go ahead.
They all know the music that they're playing, and they're doing their best to play on that note. And when they do that, and you have a well-trained group of musicians that know how to do that, then what you have coming out is a beautiful piece of music. So you could think of each of us as a musician playing our particular instrument. And what we're really learning is the song that we are all learning to play together. But we haven't got a clear piece of music in front of us. When we do have a clear piece of music in front of us, then it comes out more in what we would like to think of as a beautiful orchestra. For example, you've been through USM, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've been there when everybody is doing a trio,
Mhm.
and everybody takes their roles in playing their instrument, which is themselves. But we're all playing the same song.
Mhm.
And then at the end of the song, we take sharing. And the sharing is one of people are sharing about the beautiful things they experience and their experience of coming together and learning things and letting go of notes that didn't work for them anymore and sounding new notes that are even more beautiful. And by the time we get to the end of the weekend and we're in the final sharing, we're all in the symphony. All of the experience that people have is upliftment and beauty and just how wonderful this all is. And if we had to take a poll of how many people are feeling more uplifted now than they were when they started the weekend, I'm sure that if it wasn't 100% of the hands that went up, it would be pretty close. So in that period of time, in that weekend, and I use weekend just because that's when this particular orchestra meets. In that particular time, we all have agreed to come together to learn how to play new notes, how to play them with each other, how to learn from each other's notes that they haven't played as well. And we've all learned how to be with each other in ways where we play our notes in harmony with each other, and we come into agreements. And by the end, there's an uplifted place that if we asked you how many people feel more uplifted now than they did at the beginning of the weekend, I'm sure 100% of the hands would go up. That's the kind of thing we're talking about. But we're learning, and what we're learning is how to do that within ourselves so we don't require the orchestra. We can do it within the orchestra of our own makeup. So you could look at this in that way.
So the symphony's within me.
It's within you. The most beautiful piece of music you ever heard is in you. That's right.
And being human, I don't want to say it doesn't have to be restricting. It doesn't have to restrict my soul. It doesn't have to restrict my majesty.
On the contrary, see, and it's so funny you bring this kind of thing up because we've been having these deep conversations lately about what we're going to be doing next year. And what's coming forward is we're taking this up a whole level, and starting to look at it the way God looks at it. And so we're looking at what is this instrument playing for? What is it attempting to do? Especially once it knows that it's an instrument that already has perfection wired in, it's just not fully aware of it yet.
I could feel that.
There's a beautiful Rumi quote. I won't say it precisely here, but it goes along the lines of this: I am the hole in the flute. Let the Christ play through me.
Through which the Christ plays its melody. I'm the holes in the flute.
I'm the hole in the flute. Let the Christ
plays its melodies through me. Something like that. You get the idea.
It's a beautiful quote. See, and it's like I so invite you. It's like you have a choice here and now. You have a choice in every moment to let this go, to recognize that it has perpetuated suffering and caused restriction and pain, limitation, and that there's great freedom available to you. There's great joy and love and laughter and majesty, beauty, peace and joy available to you. That's who you are. That is your essential nature. And we have what can we say? It's like, come into the spiritual context. Give yourself a break here, Shamsi. You can go.
One last thing.
I'm ready to let go. And one of my statements for affirming, I put, I am experiencing the full radiance of my majesty in human form.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Now that's a statement. That's a statement from the sound coming out of the flute that knows what it is.
And to the first question, the feeling that came, the royalty, is allowing my soul to shine in human form.
Right.
Yes, that's it. You're on it.
Thank you for helping me to shift.
And I cannot tell you the difference in your face and just the radiance and light coming through your face.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
This really helped. And it was funny because there was a whisper to come and share. And there's, I've always liked to be invisible, but it pulled me. And I love how this weekend is touching on this.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, Shannon.
Hello, Ron and Mary.
Hi.
Hi.
Good to see all these familiar faces. And here's Mark as well.
Hi, Mark.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, what came forward in doing this exercise, and I was kind of doing it as I was driving, so I didn't have the opportunity to write it down. But just the majesty of the physical body and how that shows up as just the complexity of every single part of it, and how I'm learning a lot about the physical body lately. I'm on a healing journey. I'm learning about mitochondria, how certain diseases cause them to malform. And the deeper you go, the more like harmony is detected. And it's almost like looking out into the galaxy, but in the reverse direction. And when I kind of looked in this direction, the Majesty really showed up as being the kind of owner of my domain. And in a way that felt like kind of the king, like the majesty of the king. And it also carried with it responsibility, majesty. It's so interesting that this was brought, this caught my attention in the email. I've been working with a client about majesty. And when I kind of touched deeply that, there's a little sadness in there as well, because, again, the majesty carries with it responsibility. And I've recently really had some deep awarenesses on how I can really step into a greater responsibility with so many areas of my life that are all really related. Like my healthcare is related to my finances, my spiritual practice is related to the way I shop for groceries and the way I interact with people. So the way I serve is related to the way I sleep. So it seems like everything is kind of diminishing. And, I really ask for light right now also for a deep healing path that I'm on. It's one of those adventures.
Don't ask for light for the path. Ask light for the healing, for your highest good.
Oh, yes. I really ask for light for my healing, for the highest good of all concerned.
And there's something that comes to me. There's a book that John Roger wrote with one of his students, a woman by the name of Polly Sanderson. And the name of that book is When Are You Coming Home? And it is a book that is a modern day spiritual telling of the story of the prodigal son. I'm going to order it and send it to you if you'd like to have it, Shannon. Bonnie, will you please note this for me?
I would really love to have it. And I've always been the beneficiary of books that have come in my direction when I was on staff at USM, because you know how much I love to read. If you could look around this space, you'd see books are
everywhere,
kind of stacked.
Yes, because, and I just want to encourage you. It's not the path. There's sometimes too, healing will come in consciousness, but the body won't necessarily heal, Shannon. Obviously, I know your deep prayer is for whole healing on all levels for your highest good. But I just encourage you to bear in mind that because a physical condition does not clear, does not mean that you are not healed.
Yes, yes. I feel that's so true. And it's I've really experienced, this physical, this journey, this path of healing is just rapturous with potential. I don't know. And
Well,
the way that,
it
yeah,
is. I love that you use the word rapture.
it's
You
a funny word because you wouldn't
Well,
ordinarily describe it with that word.
well, it's like rapture is a word that to me bespeaks of what occurs in the higher spiritual realms.
And it's so beautiful the way that lands. It lands with great joy. And as I'm looking to the side, seeing all the support, I just want to share, if anybody's new to, USM and have joined this event, the community that's involved in this has been the most divine gift to both me and Mark. I think I can accurately speak for Mark in this, that we've experienced. And look at Leslie's beautiful post. Thank you, Leslie. And just being in this realm of spirit and in this context that is just infinitely deep, and just experiencing. Indeed, I do feel not that I'm healed, but that I am healed, that I am the actual condition.
You are. That is so accurate, Shannon, because it's like the cosmic blueprint within you, your soul essence really is in complete resonance, harmony, and synchronicity with the cosmic Christ energy.
As you speak those words, I see the beautiful art behind you. It's just shining, just the way I've experienced your love and mastery, shining forth with such great light, on this incredible adventure.
Well, and that light is within you, Shannon. That is your true nature. If you were to do the meditation that comes to me, it's a very simple meditation, but I see you lying on your back with your arms and legs open, spread, and just visualizing that luminous light of the love of God, the love of Christ, just radiating from your heart center and just completely filling your body, every cell in your body, and that every condition of dis-ease, imbalance, it can be lifted and cleared, that is being done through that beautiful light. And I invite you to just do this as often as you feel called to do it, Shannon.
Oh, thank you. And I'll be so blessed to have the recording of this for those exact words that I know you'll send to the community.
Yeah, and it's just as you do this, we can all do this if you so choose. It's just extending your arms, opening your legs, just envisioning this beautiful ball of golden light emanating from your heart. It is expanding, it is vibrant and radiating. The radiance of this light is a million suns and more. It is so extraordinary and magnificent, and it brings health, healing on all levels, the highest level, the level of our remembrance of who we truly are. So be it.
So be it.
God bless you, Shannon. Thank you.
It's so wonderful. This is all amazing. This is all available to everyone who steps into this beautiful container. Thank you, Ron and Mary.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, Lori.
Hi, Ron and Mary.
Hi, Lori.
Hi, Lori.
So good to see you. I feel so blessed by this process and by these shares. Like each one just feels like divinely orchestrated for my highest growth and learning. I just loved getting to celebrate the majesty that is and was Queen Elizabeth, and then using that to really call forward my own majesty. And I just had the most exquisite experience that I wanted to share that is so in direct alignment with tonight. I was in Utah over the weekend, and Utah has been, in the past, a very triggering place for me. And I go back there and I'm hit with like waves of nostalgia. And weeks ago, I asked for a female to come forward who was living a thriving life on her own as a single woman, because I've had modeled for me many, many times, just in the world that I came up through, happy women in good marriages. And it's not the position that I find myself in, but I'm a happy woman as a single woman. And I really wanted someone to come forward that I could emulate, much like I do you, Mary. And so I'm in Utah. I have a little bit of time on my hands, so I drive up to Park City and Deer Valley. And I'm just kind of following the flow of where this car is. I'm driving it, but like where this car wants to go. And I enter this neighborhood that I don't know in Deer Valley called the Pinnacle. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just driving up through this neighborhood, not really knowing why I'm there. And I come around this cul-de-sac, and all of a sudden, there is an enormous female moose. Oh, yes, enormous. And I look at her, and she looks at me. And of course, I'm bigger than she is because I'm in a car, thank heavens. But she's in this cul-de-sac. And so at first I'm sort of like activated, like I'm a little bit frightened. And so I just drive around because I don't want to spook her, even though I'm slightly spooked by her. And so I spend the next 30 minutes with this moose. Wow. And we had the most exquisite experience. I finally calmed like my body down so that I could just be with her. And she was just eating and walking and trotted a little bit, but I gestalted with her the next morning. And I realized she was an answer to prayer. She was the female who lives in a thriving way all on her own. And so I have this like gorgeous gestalt. I'll share just one tiny piece of it with you. She said to me, and it's so interesting that we talked about freedom in one of these shares. She said, walk free like me in the beauty, certainty, and authority of your being. And then this part I love too. She said, you, like me, and the entire animal kingdom are a wanderer. You live in the wilds of sacred, untamed consciousness, and you belong there, as you saw how I belong to the land in Deer Valley. Wow. And so, gosh, like the richness of this experience and the exquisite, robust blessing that my USM education is, because, 15 years ago, it would have just been a moose sighting. But as it was, like, such gorgeous messages from Spirit came through her to me. And I'm just so extraordinarily grateful.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing this, Lori. This is just so beautiful and uplifting, and what gifts come in many forms.
Have you made any arrangements to meet her again?
So love that. Every time I go to Park City and Deer Valley, I'll tell you, I'll go up into that neighborhood and see if she's there. I got to take pictures of her. Like, she let me. I mean, she was just like so majestic. And so I thought, I'm going to have a big poster board of her made, and then, really just be with her in that way as a reminder of so many blessings that are.
Well, and to me, moose are such majestic creatures. The ones I've seen in the wild, it's just been breathtaking, just the majesty.
Yes, and I actually Googled, the spiritual meaning of a moose when I got home, and words like strong, elegant, confident, grace, adaptation, independence, self-esteem, wisdom, authority, supremacy, motherly love came forward. And I was just like, oh gosh, wow, I had no idea that such resonance could be found so unexpectedly.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. What a blessing. And thank you for sharing it with us, Lori. Thank you.
I love you both.
Love you too. Okay, so let's see here. Well, I'm going to ask, is there anyone who's new here to USM, or someone who just came out of Loyalty to Your Soul that we had last month? Anyone new to USM that would like to share, simply by way of inviting you into the energy and to just share your experience of being here? You're very welcome here, and we'd love to hear from you if you are so called. And if not, then we'll hear from someone who has their hand up. So Leslie, let's hear from you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's nice to see you both. And gosh, my heart is pounding. It just feels like there's so much richness, and hearing Shannon just really is this beautiful, like I thought I wanted to say something and here is something else. I was actually going to ask for some help, clearing a paradigm and experience in class for when I graduated in 2012, where I felt the whole paradigm tonight. It was so strong that I felt out of it for 2 hours because it was such a deep change. And I can tell that's where I'm at again. So I guess where I want to go with that is that I am one of the people that had a vaccine injury, and I lost my savings and all my money to get to where basically my medical costs were so high that I don't have anything left, and I don't have a home. So I'm just asking for any practical work because I won't have anywhere in 2 days. But where Shannon, ideas, sometimes I can't come up with ideas because I'm frozen with just all the medical things I'm dealing with. But when Shannon shared, it was just this intuition I've been getting for a while, where I hear you're not quite in alignment. You're not quite in alignment. And I have felt so called to offer what I to people that I was actually misdiagnosed with HIV because my immune system was so off. And so I lived with that for a while thinking I had it. And it made me realize, God, people that are diagnosed with things need my work. They need these poetry and speaking events to help them process. And people in nursing homes need this. And women who've been beaten need this. And I've spent a while trying to be something and build something. And I really just want to serve those people. And I think that part of my stuckness is I'm so focused on myself and their real needs. I don't know where to go. But if my heart was singing, I'd probably have more energy, And so I'm just trying to work this out. If that makes sense. I don't know how else to put it. There's just a lot up.
Well, what you're saying to me makes perfect sense, because what I'm understanding you to be sharing is that you're recognizing that that the way through for you is service, is to be able to share your gifts, to work with others, and that in extending your love, your light, your gifts in that way, not only will they be lifted, but you will be lifted and you will find your path forward. And I so acknowledge you for this awareness and understanding that you have, because regardless of what your financial circumstance is, you can answer the call of your own soul's purpose. And soul's purpose is majestic. Soul's purpose is ordinary. And it's something that each one of us have. And each one of us have gifts that we came to share. And you just described and touched on yours most briefly here, Leslie. But if there's someone in this community this evening who has a place where Leslie could share her gift, would you be open to hearing from them, Leslie?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'm really actually, I feel like my external in so many ways, I'm judging it, but it feels like a mess. But I know what comes through these, and I know I've seen what people leave like and how it helps me.
And I so encourage you, for each one of us, we need to start from where we are. And what I'm hearing inside is Christ began in a manger.
You know, I would like to share with everyone that when I was going through I was twitching and having all these things for months and months, and I kept hearing Christ, and he would say over and over, remember your light, because I was so scared. And it's amazing how power comes through and that we can be in any state and it's there. You know, I think there's a misunderstanding around some people around me that you have to be at a certain frequency. And it's like the hardest times is where the most light's come in for me.
Yes, yes. We're never alone. And that light, that beautiful light is always present within us and always standing with us. You look beautiful. I just encourage you, you know, it's like you've asked to serve, and I trust that a door will open to you.
Thank you.
A door will open to you that will be a way for you to begin. And from that, more opportunities will grow.
Yeah, thank you very much.
What you said is so accurate in my experience and so wise. It's like just begin where we are.
It feels really nice to feel, I just feel supported, and I appreciate that very much.
Much love to you, Leslie. It's beautiful to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We could just do Karen and then wrap it up.
All right, Karen, is yours brief? A brief share?
She knows.
I think so.
All right, well, let's hear what you have to share with us.
Hi. What came forward for me was I remember one of the coaching classes of USM. I had a sharing and I said, I am from the United Kingdom of God.
Yes.
But it's just now, especially in this session, that I realized, yes, I've been part of this royal family, but I haven't really stepped in, you know, I haven't really given myself 100% because I have this issue of being the second runner-up. You know, I had this, since I was little, I preferred to be in second place than first place. Right now, I'm not into this competition thing because I'm not there anymore competing with anybody. I guess I'm competing with myself. But I've been asking God, you know, show me the way how to serve you more. Show me the way, show me the way. And I was remembering during this session that I was in the UK a couple of months ago during the Jubilee, celebrating the Queen. And at one point, I was really called to go into Parliament, and I was just in the middle of that room where the coffin was, where the Queen was lying on state. And I remember I sat down. It's an open space. There were no chairs, no nothing. It's really open. And I just sat down. I was calling in the light, placing columns of light all over that place. And then I went into the Parliament, all the other rooms. And I stayed there for about 2 hours, placing the light. And then when she died, and I saw where she was placed in that, I just started crying, because I was like, I can't believe I was there just calling in the light all the time I was in there. But in this session, I realized that I've been expecting to be told what to do. In a way, it's like, okay, I'm part of this royal family, but it's easier to play the princess role and being told what to do, instead of really stepping into my majesty. Because being the Queen, the boss of the Queen is God. She was the head of state of the Church of England. She had no one else on top of her. And the way she related, she was the ambassador of God, the way she presented. That's why she didn't got involved in politics the way we know it. So during this session, I just realized that a part of me is afraid of stepping into my own. I have an issue with this Majesty word itself, but because I see it like too much, like too big of a responsibility, which is, in a way, I sense it like a huge responsibility, but not as a heavy thing. I don't know. It's really weird.
Well, I'll just be brief, and then Ron will add whatever he's called to add. This is an opportunity for surrender. A greater level of surrender. You're not doing it.
Okay, for me to go.
You want to go?
No. I'm sitting here, I'm laughing. Because what I'm about to say to you, the risk I'm running is overwhelming you. But I'm going to do it anyway. So get settled in your chair. Because here comes the idea that I want you to really contemplate and consider. We talk about the bigness of the Queen and, that which you were referring to. So your nature is infinite. Is that big enough for you? Loving is what the universe is made of. We're moving more and more into this with our current programming development for next year. We are not becoming more loving. What we are becoming is more aware that we are the infinite essence of loving that exists in reality. All of it. We're all of it. It's just that we're not alone. If that makes any sense to you.
Inside, yes.
Yeah. So all we're really doing is stepping into the awareness of that which we are and have always been and always will be. We, as humans, we can only take it in steps. If any one of us were to have the awareness of the allness of it once, we would explode. And so it's set up in such a way that it doesn't happen like that. We go in steps, one step at a time. So we build more and more and more of the structure that can hold that awareness. And we're all together in it.
And bless you for preparing a place for the Queen.
Good luck.
Thank you so much, Karen. Love and blessings.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank all of you for being here tonight. And Eliza.
Yeah, I'm right here. And I'm very present to the majesty of humanity right now. So thank you for tonight. This was really, really, really amazing. And I'm thinking about as we wrap up, I'm thinking about entelechy and the majestic oak tree and how big and beautiful that majestic oak tree is, and how it starts with its entelechy as an acorn, and it doesn't know where it's going. It's just growing and shining and loving and being. And so I'm so grateful for my USM education and for this community as it's demonstrated tonight, that we can come together and steep in this awakening to who we are and what we are on the world, in the planet right now. I'm just beyond grateful for that. And speaking of gratitude, I would like to officially extend an invitation to you all to our 3rd annual Feast on Gratitude. That will be our next worldwide community gathering on November 15th. It's personally a really special evening for me. I can't believe it's our 3rd. That's so wonderful. I remember our first. I was just bowled over with loving and light and recollections of how powerful this work is and how lucky I feel to be a part of this community both years. And now we're on our 3rd. So please join us. The link is in the chat. You can register tonight. Again, that's November 15th, 6 to 8 p.m. Pacific, our 3rd annual Feast on Gratitude. We love you so much. I'm going to toss it back over to you, Ron and Mary, if there's anything else you want to say, and I'll see most of you on the 15th.
Thank you, Eliza.
Thank you so much, Eliza. And thank you all for joining us this evening. What a beautiful gathering. We just enjoy so much being together and what Spirit brings forward, the blessings of just our oneness. So let's unmute everyone so we can all say good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Anna Mary.
Thank you,
Good
Mary.
night.
Night.
Thank you.
Everybody. Good night.
Blessings. Mwah. Love you.
Night,
Good
Joy.
night.
Night, everybody.
Night.
Night, TJ.